Hey everybody, I'm Nicolette Amarillas. I'm a strength coach and a posture and movement specialist. Today I'm going over the split squat. Now maybe you're thinking, I've seen a split squat. I know split squats. I don't need your help. But there might be a good chance that you're not doing it in a way that's supporting the movement that it's meant to, which is the squat. The split squat is an accessory exercise that helps build strength, mobility, and function of your back squat and your front squats. Because of this, it's really important that a split squat, that movement pattern, mimics or looks a lot like your squat pattern. Now, last week, I posted a YouTube short as well as videos on my other platforms, Instagram and on TikTok, about why the split squat should look this certain way, which I'll show you in a second. Now today, I want to dive even deeper and show you how to do the movement like this and also ways to regress it to make it a little bit easier and to trim down the range of motion in case you're a little worried about a deep range of motion for the knee, say if you've had an injury or something. Now keep in mind, if you do have an acute knee injury currently, I would definitely consult your physician or your physical therapist just to make sure that knee flexion is something that's healthy for you. If you don't have any injury there, you should be pretty good to start practicing your split squats this way. So first I'm going to show you the split squat and the way that I like to teach my clients, and then we'll get into like the intricacies of it. You ready? Let's go. Okay, so typically in a split squat, which you've probably seen many times, is where we're dropping down 90 degrees, right? And we're coming back up. Now, I'm never gonna name any movement as bad. I don't think that this is bad, but I think there's a better way that we can do it, which then helps strengthen your movement, the squat, which is really why we do the split squats. So if our split squat looks like this, and if we're kind of going along that same mentality of, okay, this is a movement that supports the squat, and we want that movement pattern to look like the squat, this isn't really helpful because your squats don't look like that. Right? In our squats, we're actually getting into deeper knee flexion, or at least that's our goal. Now, maybe you're thinking, Nicolette, I don't look like this when I squat. Like I can't get down that low. That's okay. Just because you don't get down that low doesn't mean that the knee doesn't need to fully flex. What we're looking for is for our ability to be under tension and under load with more knee flexion and more ankle mobility. The knees are meant to flex. We want to be able to help them do so by increasing that range of motion and encouraging them to bend because that's what they're meant to do. So instead of this 90-degree angle, we're going to think in terms of our squat, which again looks more like this, right? We want to mimic this situation on one leg. So we're gonna bring the leg back farther than what you're probably used to if you've never done your split squats like this. We're starting hip distance, so you're not thinking like a tightrope, you're definitely thinking train tracks. So hip distance, most of the time people don't go wide enough. So make sure you're going wide enough. Now from here, this is the part that's different. We're going to think escalator, not elevator. So before we were elevator. Now we're going down and forward, again, mimicking that range of motion for the knee. So there's a couple things to keep in mind. A is that stance, so hip distance. Also this back leg. In order to come forward, we have to keep the back leg straight. So we're keeping the back leg straight with just a soft knee bend as that knee comes forward. What you're also gonna feel is a huge stretch in the hip flexor in the front of the hip of this back leg, which is a great added benefit. Now, as far as the upper body goes, think about tucking in and just engaging through the glutes. This is going to limit your range of motion, but it's also gonna keep your range of motion healthy. Because if I were to just let go, yes, I could go super low, but that doesn't mean the quality of that range of motion is positive, right? So tuck in, front hip bones up towards your rib cage, and then lift the collarbones up like there's a magnet on your collarbones and on the ceiling, lifting you and opening you. Keep that magnet engaged as you lower down and forward. Now notice my heel is pressed into the floor. If you're noticing your heel coming up, watch this. It's probably because your legs are not long enough. Look at my stance is not long enough. Not that your legs are not long enough. The problem is you're too short. No, the stance of your legs is not long enough. This is why my heel is lifting. So if I take a longer step back, then I notice a big difference. I'm able to keep the heel in the floor and I'm able to bring that knee forward. Now here's the thing. Sometimes that's really hard. It could be hard for a lot of reasons. You could have tight hips. You could have limited ankle mobility. You could have a knee injury, or your knees could just feel weak. Or maybe you've never dropped down that low and it just feels a little scary. The great way to progress yourself through the split squat is to elevate the front leg. Now this is a pretty low elevation. I have a step that has three more risers. You could go as high as 3 more risers. Today I'm just going to show you with a riser and a step, and I'll show you how it helps kind of bring the floor closer to you so that way you don't have to bend as much. Okay, so we'll try it here. The front foot on the step. Hip distance. My heel is pressed into the floor. In addition to that, with any variation, you might want to just like turn the toes out, think like 5 or 10 degrees, just barely. Whether you're on the floor or whether you're on the step, just kind of helps open up the hip into external rotation slightly. Okay, from here, same rules apply. Back leg is straight. We're tucking in, front hip bones coming up toward the rib cage. Collarbones lifted to the ceiling, core drawn in, torso straight. From here, forward and down. Pushing through the heel while also pushing through the ball of the foot, but remembering that the heel really is planted into the floor. That planting of the heel not only creates stability, but also encourages more glute work. So the higher we go, the easier it's going to be able to get lower into the split squat. A progression would be to remove these risers as you get more comfortable with this type of split squat. So now that we kind of have a good idea of what the movement is and how it looks, let's go over just a couple small tweaks that I find a lot of people miss, but make a huge difference in how the movement feels and also how much engagement you get through your glutes. So I already talked a little bit about the stance. So we want to make sure we're hip distance. This is hip distance, not this, okay? Talked a little bit about bringing this front foot out. So I'm going to just slightly rotate my front foot out, okay? That again just encourages a little bit of like external rotation in this front hip just to help you engage the glute more and feel more stable. Now, this is a key, and I feel like a lot of people miss this part, even the people that do this type of split squat. This back leg, I guarantee what will happen when you first do it is it's gonna do this. The heel's gonna fall in, okay? Now when this happens, you're gonna lose a lot of stability, and also it's gonna bring your hips out wide and you won't be able to get that low. So lift that back heel up and think actually like pressing the outside of that ankle away from you slightly. So you're gonna be like rotating that foot out. So see that foot? Rotate it out slightly, not falling in. The falling in is going to throw you off balance and it's gonna be really uncomfortable. So press through the back foot, pull that ankle out a little bit, and then you'll feel an even deeper stretch through that hip flexor. And then go into the split squat, okay? So we're breaking it down. We have hip distance. We have toes in the front, slightly turned out. We have hips tucked in, core engaged, glutes engaged. Collarbones lifted. The last little tweak, heel comes out, bigger stretch through that back hip, then escalator, not elevator. So that's the split squat. Maybe you've never done it like that before. That is okay. I encourage you to at least explore it and try it, especially if you're wanting to increase the range of motion and the strength in your knees. Remember, your knees are meant to bend. Allow them to bend and encourage them to bend so that when you go into movements like the squat, you feel more comfortable, more stable, and obviously stronger. I'm Nicolette Amarillas. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found it helpful. Please feel free to ask questions in the comments. I'll see you soon.